From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in pop.
All right, yeah, welcome back from that short break. Joining me in the building this morning to do justice to some of these topical issues that we shall be dissecting is Otolugad. Otolugad, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the fans of Athletic TV. We are here to always dissect and bring to you the best of sports.
Of course, we are always right here to bring you the best of sports this morning. But let's get rumbling this morning, starting from the NUGA game, because the Nigerian University Games Association Council has approved a new date for the forthcoming NUGA competition to be hosted by the University of Jos. The competition will now take place from 6th to 16th of November 2025 at the University of Jos, according to press release signed by Abdullah, Senior Deputy Registrar Information and Publication of UniJos, and made available to newsmen. The announcement was made when the NUGA National Executive paid a courtesy visit to the university management during the NUGA annual council meeting in that very one. And of course, that annual council meeting took place in Jos at the University of Jos. NUGA President Professor Engineer Mohammed Bawa, who led the delegation, explained that the decision to shift the date came after a thorough consultations with key stakeholders. Lugat, what do you make of the postponement of the NUGA game? Could this be a welcome development so as to help the UniJos properly put themselves in place for this massive one?
I don't understand why they keep postponing sporting event in Nigeria. It simply means that we are not ready yet, and we've not been able to fine-tune and look for a way to tackle this issue of postponement. We have to be prepared at all costs. We have to be prepared at all time. We need to be ready to accommodate, to take in the visitors that will come. The NUGA game has produced so many talent in the likes of Vincent Enyama, Sheyi Olufanjana, Fashuba, and the rest of them. I think they should be serious about it. Nigerian University game always bring out the best of talent. And most of this talent cannot be harnessed except the opportunity they have in the university. So the postponement to me is not coming at the right time. The NUGA should try as much as possible. That is what we said. The other time it was National Sports Festival. If you have an alternative, postponement wouldn't be an issue. But due to the fact that there is no alternative, postponement is always worrisome. So I think NUGA game should be serious about the game, and also understand that this game helps so many persons to nurture their talent while in the university.
Of Of course, indeed, the Nuga game has produced so many notable names out there in the world of sport. So we also continue to encourage them to do the needful as to ensure that the standard of the Nuga game remain the same. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Wrestling Federation has joined other well-meaning Nigerians to congratulate its president, champion Daniel Igali, on his birthday anniversary. The Wrestling Federation, in a statement issued out by its Secretary General, Oluwasegun Bode Ademisoro, Honorable Daniel Igali, for his admirable leadership and commitment to sport development. He described the NWF president, who doubles as the Honorable Commissioner for Sport Development, Bayelsa State, as an exceptional personality whose selfless and patriotic leadership is worthy of emulation. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Wrestling Federation also congratulated Honorable Daniel Igali on his emergence as chairman of the Niger Delta Commissioners Forum in that very one. This is one man who has brought a lot to the world of wrestling in Nigeria, also putting us in the world map, also marking his celebration and encomium and congratulations are being poured in. This is what it means for you to lay a good legacy, isn't it?
Yeah, Daniel Igali has actually distinguished himself in that sporting federation. I mean, that wrestling federation. You see, Daniel Igali has brought in unique way of, you know, the traditional wrestling and also the strength of Nigerians. He has been able to bring out the best in our athletes when it comes to wrestling. I think Daniel Igali deserves more. You know, if it is possible, the Nigeria Federation for Wrestling should try as much as possible to make, if possible, a statue about him in the wrestling office, because Daniel Igali has changed the narrative. He came in, the wrestling which was almost gone, he has been able to revive the system. Nigerian wrestlers have been competing very well in the international competition, and we are no longer pushovers. I think Daniel Igali deserves everything.
Of course, Daniel Igali truly deserves all the encomium and praises, all the congratulatory message pouring in as he celebrates his birthday. We wish him well as well. Meanwhile, the company, FIBA and the leading company rather, have signed a strategic partnership with a focus on cutting-edge media technology. FIBA, and leading provider of AI-powered digital and media asset management solutions built specifically for the sport industry, have agreed a multi-year strategic partnership that will build on their shared commitment to innovations. The agreement's main focus will be on enhancing digital workflows by automating indexation, management, and distribution of digital assets for basketball entities. This will create value of players, national federation, leagues, and clubs by assisting them in saving time, unlocking creative possibilities, and leveraging media to engage fans and generate revenue. Rather, in that very one big one out there. But away from that, to the world of UFC this morning, former two-time UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has vowed to return to the octagon despite suffering his third consecutive defeat and second career knockout loss against Nasruddin Imavov at the UFC Fight Night 250 in Saudi Arabia. Despite starting well with series of hard low kick that rattled Imavov's lead leg, Adesanya found himself in trouble late in the first round when his opponent landed a stiff shovel hook that snapped his head back. The former champion had made significant changes to his preparation ahead of the fight, which deadlined UFC's second event in Saudi Arabia, and would regret that it wasn't enough to secure a win for him. He also admitted disappointing his fans as well shortly after that fight. Israel Adesanya, it looks as though it is no longer the same iron bend that we used to know. Don't forget, he lost against Dricus Duplessis, losing all the bet. Now against Imavov, where so many persons expected him to use that opportunity as more like a make way to relaunch himself back in the big stage, but then he crumbled like a pack of cards. Is it time for him to retire, or you think he still has more to offer in the world of UFC?
You see, Idris Adesanya has been a very good fighter, but there's always a time when the curtain seems to be closing. You know, Israel should look for a way either to change his coaching team or possibly call it a time in the UFC sports. You know, he has done well for himself. So for me, I think losing 3 straight fights signified that, oh, the curtain is actually gradually closing. So for me, he should look for a way either to call it a time, or but if he feels he still have what it takes to offer to the world of UFC, he should change his coaching team. I think maybe he has lost concentration. He's no longer having that spirit or energy to concentrate on the fight coming up. And another thing, training tactics. You know, I think the training tactics is no longer favoring him. So in as much as the training tactics is not favoring him, that's why I'm calling for him to change his coaching crew. If he do that and maybe go into another fight, discovering that maybe he won or he loses, I think he should just call it a time.
It's time for him to call it a time, according to Luga. Don't forget, he lost against Dricus Duplessis in that very one before, even Sean Strickland as well. One of the big names that actually humbled Israel Adesanya before this fight against Imavov, which he actually lost. And so many are calling on Israel Adesanya to say Arrivederci to the sport that brought him fame, popularity. You know, they will keep our fingers crossed, hoping to see that how that one pounds out, whether it's going to continue or possibly call it quit on the big stage right now. Away from that, to the world of tennis, we move this morning because Clara Shield, you know, the world of boxing, rather, the Clara Shield became the first undisputed world champion in 3 weight classes in the 5 belt era by beating Danielle Perkins for the women's heavyweight title in Michigan. The 29-year-old won by unanimous decision, dominating fellow American Perkins and knocking her down with a powerful right hand with a second left in the 10th and final round. Shield has also been undisputed world champion at the middleweight and lightweight division, you know, making a big name for herself. All right, let's head straight to the world of tennis this time around, because 2-time Wimbledon champion Petra Vitova has announced she will return to the sport following the birth of her son. Former world number 2 Vitova has been away from the tennis world for more than 15 months, last competing at the China Open in October 2023. Meanwhile, the 34-year-old Czech Republic player who won Wimbledon in 2011 and 2014 gave birth to her son in July 2024, you know, in that very one. All right, Vitova, this is another big name, but it's been a while that we heard from her. Cost of her giving birth to her child, more 15 months away from the game. Do you think that she still has what it takes, you know, to reclaim her place back in the world of tennis?
With proper training, she can do that. But you should understand that, you know, after so many months outside the game, it's going to be a difficult one. That is exactly what is affecting Naomi Osaka. You know, she gave birth, came back, the injuries have been coming, even on the court. She's not doing badly, but possibly there are some certain things that have changed within your body system. And these things will come into play when you now start trying to rebuild. You know, when you've gone out of a particular sporting activities for a while, coming back is like you starting all over again. So for Kitova, I think she can actually come back and be her best, but reclaiming what she has lost for that number of months she has been at, 15 months is not just a mere feast. You know, 15 months is like that should be a year plus 3 months, right? So a year plus 3 months outside a particular sports you are noted for. You know, some persons have learned new skills, they have been able to develop new techniques, and they'll be waiting for you to unleash those techniques they have gotten. So Kitova should just come back, possibly participate. If God will be on her side and possibly she has a good training session, she might actually reclaim it, but the possibility is actually rare.
He talked about the possibility being very rare. Now, you take a look at the WTA, a lot of competition within the WTA, the likes of Iga Swiatek, Arina Zabalenka, Cory Kokogov, these are names that when you talk about the WTA, they ring bell in your ears. Now talking about a player that have been away from the game for more than a year plus right now. I mean, could that be very easy, even if she gets a new coach? I mean, to help her, reclaim her place back in the big stage once more. Maybe more like getting to the world number 5 or world number 10. Do you see her, bouncing back to that high stage? Don't forget, she was world number 2. Well, you take a look at the competition within the WTA right now. Do you think that she can actually make it to world number 5 or even 10 at any time soon?
The Prime Minister, I always, if you listen to me earlier on, I said it will be very difficult. Let her just come back, play, and see what comes out of it. Because first of all, you've just listed players in very good form, and these players are consistently there for now. They are not losing focus. Kitova has been away for 15 months, and that shows that maybe fatigue will come into play. She need to train. She need to train extra hours to regain form. And I told you earlier on that these players that have been there has been able to develop new skills. They've been able to get new tactics, and they've been able to understand the terrain. Naomi Osaka is a very good player, but coming back, see what is happening. At the tail end, you discover that you not being in that competition for a while now will tell on you. Naomi Osaka has been able to drop out of 2 competitions now because of injury. That shows that the gap is there. She has not been able to regain her full fitness, and possibly she might not even get it and maybe go back to the maternity room.
Maybe go back to the maternity room. I wish her well she'd be to come back to the big stage once more after being away from the game for a year plus right now, taking care of her son out there. Meanwhile, some little bit of disturbing news this morning coming in from the world of football, because some players and officials of Abubakar Kola Saraki's football club, ABS, sustained various degrees of injuries following an auto crash on Monday along Ogbomoso in Ilorin Expressway. Report has it that the driver of the bus and one other passenger at the front seat reportedly sustained most injuries in the auto crash. The incident, according to the club's media director, Tuash Mikel, occurred along Ogbomoso Ilorin Expressway when the team was returning to Ilorin after their match against Sporting Lagos, though no life was lost in that very one. So we thank God there was no loss of life, but then this is a heavy blow to the team.
ABS or team involved in accident. You see, I've always said it that the backwardness of Nigeria League is telling on us. We've not been able to sign good and lucrative deals with multinationals and the rest of them that will be able to bring new innovation into the Nigeria League. Clubs traveling on the road, to me, is always a risk. And traveling on the road, not that they're even using the best of vehicles. Possibly vehicle just put together, no AC, nothing, there's no good security. I think we should improve on this. Hearing all these things makes me sick, in the sense that we ought to be away from this particular thing. If you can check possibly the records, Nigeria League started the same day with the French League. But it's unfortunate we are close to the French League. And the French League seems to be making progress every day, and it seems to be going backward. We need to improve on our facilities, the welfare of the team, the traveling logistics. What are you bringing into place? If these states can actually get a private jet for this team, it's possible. We have the resources. It's all about bringing the head down, recruiting good management team that will be able to change the narrative, bringing multinationals and signing multi-deals with companies that will be able to aid in traveling logistics of these players. Making them to travel on the road is putting them on a different scale of risk. And right now they have gotten an accident. That means their match for this week possibly might be postponed. And that will also hamper the development of the league. I think that should be the Nigeria
National League.
Yeah, National League. So we need to improve on all these things. We need to. If we don't look into this thing, we are going to even go down in the ranking in Africa, especially the Nigeria League. Imagine we are not even competing favorably in the this local players, the local champ. That because of we are not harnessing the numerous talent we have. But we go to Europe, you see Nigerians that will travel from here to Europe performing very well. That means the facilities on ground are not has nothing to write home about. The Nigeria League should be able to improve on the logistics of the players, the welfare of the players, the traveling arrangement, and the rest of them. These are things they need to do to make this team have what it takes to participate favorably among its competitors in the African Champions League and African Confederation Cup.
Of course, the Nigerian Premier Football League and even the NNL, talking about the Nigerian National League, need to do a lot in terms of improvement because traveling via road, going for a very long distance, hours of journey to honor away matches is becoming very, very difficult for many teams out there. So I think a lot still needs to be done in the league so as to ensure that at least we continue to gain headway. But at this point, we'll take a quick break. When we are back, I'll continue to bring you the latest revolving around the world of football this morning. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League because there were 4 matches that took place in the match day 22 of the Nigerian Premier Football League yesterday being Monday, and we recorded 3 home wins and 1 away win. 6 goals scored in all of those 4 games and 7 yellow cards distributed in that very well. Meanwhile, the 2 results saw Kwara United at home defeating El Kanemi Warriors 2 goals to nothing. Bendel Insurance had a better of Kwara United 1 goal to nothing. Enugu International, they are back to winning ways 2 goals to nothing. It ended in their favor against Ikorodu City, while Obi Stars lost at home to Enyimba in that very encounter. All right. Still talking the Nigeria Premier Football League this morning because Niger Tornadoes head coach Majid Mohammed was disappointed with his team's loss to Nasarawa United. The Con Allah boys lost 2 goals to nothing to their hosts at the Lafia City Stadium on Sunday. Tornadoes were favourites heading into the game despite playing on road. The Mina club were, however, surprised by the home team who put up a brilliant display in the contest. Mohammed considered his side, were not good enough in that very game. All right, other news still coming in from the world of football, talking about the Nigerian Premier Football League because Nasarawa United technical advisor Kabiru Dogo has reflected on his team's impressive 2-0 victory over Niger Tornadoes, and as Yusuf scored both goals for the solid Miners in the encounter played at the Lafia City Stadium on Sunday. A hard-earned win boosted Nasarawa United's chances of escaping the drop. The Lafia club now sit in 18th position on the table after 22 games. And Nasarawa United will be away to El Kanemi Warriors in their next league game. All right, a lot coming in from the Nigerian Premier Football League this morning because Nigerian striker Junior Ajayi has sealed a move to Libyan giant Al Hilal Benghazi. Ajayi, member of the under-23 Eagles team that won bronze medal at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, signed a short-term contract with Al Hilal. Tariq Tabek's side, rivals El Merreikh, are competing in the Mauritania League due to political unrest in Libya. He enjoyed his most successful spell at Egyptian club Al Ali, winning titles 4 times, and as well as the CAF Champions League. Otoluga Junior Ajayi, of course, if you're an ardent follower of the Nigerian Premier Football League, you can also recall that name. Junior Ajayi did well for the Nigerian Premier Football League before moving over to Egyptian club where he won 4 league titles, 2 CAF Champions League. Then at 29 or thereabout right now, he's still touring the African continent. What do you make of his move this time around?
To Al Hilal of Libya, who are currently competing in the Mauritania League due to political unrest in Libya. I think Junior Ajayi has paid his dues. It's just unfortunate that the league in our country happens not to be paying very well. If not, at this point, Junior Ajayi should be coming back to Nigeria League and possibly be linking up with a particular club in the league. But as I said earlier on, the welfare of the players are not actually looking to. The Nigeria League need to do more so that you attract these players back to the league, and that will enhance the league and also make the fans to come into the stadium to watch match. You will see what Kano Pillars is doing. They have 2 Nigeria players in their team, in the person of Ahmed Musa and Shehu Abdullahi. That shows that they have what it takes. It might not be the financial side of it, but maybe they have the technical crew that we are able to convince this player to say, come home, we'll give you the opportunity. Even if the form is declining, we can give you first team play for a number of time for you to pick your form, and it has actually helped the team. Go to Kano Pillar Stadium in Kano, you see that the stadium is always full to the brim. Then what about when Kano Pillars went to Enugu Rangers? You saw the match. It demonstrates the high level of competitiveness in Nigeria League if properly we put things in order. You understand? So Junior Ajayi, for me, I think the move is a good one. But for me, I felt he would one of the Nigeria club would have looked for a way to attract him back home with his wealth of experience. It would have actually helped. Imagine a player who has won CAF Champions League twice and also won the Egyptian League 4 times with Al Hilal rather. That shows his level of quality. And for a while now, it was as if he wasn't getting the first team play in Al Hilal. I was trying to see if he was still in Al Hilal. When I saw this move, I was like, so Junior Ajayi was still in Al Hilal and he has not been playing all this way. I think for me, it's a good move.
A good move for Junior Ajayi. Of course, we wish him well in that very move. We hope that he goes there and see first team football, because that is the dream of every professional footballer out there. Not just signing for a club, but also ensure that you are able to pin a shirt down to play week in, week out, to contribute your own quota to the club. Away from that, African Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 is set to witness a thrilling contest in Group C, where Nigeria, Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania will battle for place in the knockout round. Nigeria begins campaign against Tanzania, while Tunisia faces Uganda. Group C action kick off on December 23rd, 2025, with Nigeria taking on Tanzania at the Complex Sportive de Fes in Fes. One of the standard matches in Group C will be the Nigerian versus Tunisia showdown on December 27 at the Complex Sportif de Fes in Fes. This fixture revives an old rivalry, with Tunisia having famously knocked out Nigeria in the African Cup of Nations in 2021 in the round of 16 in that very one. Reactions continue to trail the 2025 African Cup of Nations draw, where Nigeria is pitted against Egypt, Tanzania, So I don't know what you make of this. There are so many persons saying Nigeria is a very easy group for them. Some are also saying that no, it's going to be a very difficult group for us to scale through. But I don't know which side of the divide are you. Do you think that this is an easy group for us, or you think that they know us in football any longer?
If you can recall vividly, in one of the interview I granted you via the phone, I told you it's a very difficult group. But if Nigeria can maneuver themselves out of the group, that they will go a long way. Tunisia is a powerhouse in African football. You can't actually rule them out. Tanzania and Uganda are actually coming up with a very good play. You can't say Tanzania is a pushover, because right now there is no country or club side in football you can actually write off. So many things is coming up. Minors are no longer in football, because you don't know the level of preparation they've had, you don't know the players they've had. It's always difficult playing against a homegrown team, a team that has been together. Possibly they go into camp when the league is on break and resume back when the league maybe dispatch when the league resume. So when you are playing such an opponent, playing together for a while gives them the opportunity to compete favorably, to have a cohesive midfield, to understand themselves, to link up play with the striker, link up play with the midfield, the defender linking up with the midfield. And for me, I think Nigeria should be careful with that group, because that group might be tricky as it actually looking. You see the likes of Uganda, they are coming up well. In the last African Cup of Nations, I think they were there and they had a very good performance, though it wasn't what they expected, but it was good. So I feel they have gone back home, look at the drawing board that we always say that there is no more drawing board for Nigeria, and possibly look for a way to see how they can amend their errors and come back and compete favorably in this 2025 African Cup of Nations. I just pray that the new coach we have in Eric will come up with a very good tactics and scale through this group stage. It's tricky, but if Nigeria comes out of it, they might go far in the competition.
Very tricky group that we'll find ourselves, but I think on paper, the Nigerian Super Eagles will are highly favored to come out of that group with ease if all things were to be the same. But in football, you can never say never until the final whistle. Away from that, Spain former football chief Luis Rubiales goes on trial Monday over the first keys he gave a star forward Jenny Hermoso, with the player scheduled to take the stand. The 47-year-old provoked a worldwide outrage after he cooked Hermoso's head and gave her an unsolicited kiss after Spain beat England to win the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia. Our prosecutors are seeking 2.5 years in prison for Rubiales, 1 year for sexual assault for the forced kiss, and 18 months for allegedly coercing Hermoso, who is 34, to play down the incident. The kiss was given unexpected and without the consent of or acceptance of the players, prosecutor wrote in their indictment. Now, the controversy surrounding around the former Spain football chief, talking about Luis Rubiales, has continued to generate a whole lot of reactions across the football fraternity. It looks as though sometimes people thought that the matter has died down, but now they have now decided to awaken this matter again, and the young man will be going on trial. What do you make of the whole incident about the kissing? First, to you, do you think it's about the excitement and the euphoria of winning the World Cup that actually made him, to do that, or you think there was something special attached to that kiss?
Did you watch that match?
Of course I did.
Did you watch the kiss?
I did.
So what do you think happened there?
No, I'm asking you the question.
You see, for me, that is always a way of rewriting and telling the story. If you watch what happened, the player herself came out to downplay what happened. But that kiss wasn't a kiss that was accepted by the player. And to me, that is a sexual assault. Over there in overseas, there are things you don't do and get away with. There are things you do and you find yourself behind the bar. And there are things you do. That is why I tell people that trials in a court doesn't just go. It might just lie low, maybe because of his postponement, or possibly there was a shift in date of the trial. But the trial is not completely off. But some persons will tell you, oh, the rich has won, they have been able to pay bribe and it is off. There's nothing off. If you can see what is happening now, the man is going in. You know, because one, if at the end of the day his solicitors are unable to prove beyond the judge, beyond human comprehension, and to the judges that their client did that because of maybe possibly the excitement, or maybe the euphoria that Spain won the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, if I have actually watched that thing critically, I think possibly there might also be a secret affair ongoing. I think there must be a secret affair ongoing. So, but he never knew that that would be blown out of proportion. So he should go in for it.
All right, he should go in for it. According to Otoluga, he thinks that there is something special that is attached to that kiss, not just about the euphoria, you know, that Spain won the World Cup. He thinks there is an underhand cover behind that unsolicited kiss out there. Meanwhile, Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim has said there is nothing embarrassing or humiliating about Marcus Rashford's loan move to Aston Villa. He said such move could only help players improve themselves. Rashford secured a 6-month loan move to Premier League rivals Aston Villa after the manager made it clear that he was not part of his plans. Unai Emery's side will cover at least 75% of Rashford's £365,000 a week wage and have an option to purchase him for £40 million in the summer. Speaking after the Red Devils were beaten 2-0 by Crystal Palace over the weekend, Amorim was asked if sending Talisman on loan, talking about Marcus Rashford, was embarrassing, and he clearly said no. Otolugad, Marcus Rashford loan move to Aston Villa, Ruben Amorim coming out to also make his opinion known after falling out of favor with Marcus Rashford. Do you think that the move of Marcus Rashford to Aston Villa is for his own good or for the good of the club?
I think
looking at what was transpiring between Ruben Amorim and Marcus Rashford, where the coach came out publicly to criticize him, saying that he's not doing enough in training.
Marcus Rashford for me has never been a team player. If Marcus Rashford is not scoring, Marcus Rashford doesn't assist. If Marcus Rashford is not assisting, that means he is actually not a player to fit into Ruben Amorim's style of play. Ruben Amorim, it's just unfortunate that they lost their match against Crystal Palace. I have watched his tactics. I have watched him when he was in Sporting Lisbon. I have watched him the way he has been changing the narrative in Manchester United. Though it's going to be a difficult work for him to do, most especially with what he has just done, sending the Englishman away from Manchester United down to Aston Villa for 6 months loan. The papers will come out wangling. The tongues will wag. They will be like, what did you do? This is an English player, the talisman, a man we all know for his contribution and this. But to me, the English press has always been the issue. A player who has not played up to the optimal will be called out and said, oh, he's the best, he's the this, he's the that. When you go to Spanish league, you see players who are doing exceptionally well. But the press are not eager to go into the media war to say, oh, this guy is good. For me, Rashford should improve on his play. If he's actually doing well on the training ground, I think Ruben Amorim will not come out to criticize him. These coaches understand these players. Before now, maybe he has been in that enclosed fame of I am an Englishman and this is my ground. I can always do anything and get away with it. But a Portuguese have come in and said, no, you can't do anything and get away with it. I am here, I am in charge, and I need to instill discipline. And I think these are one of the things that actually made Ten Hag to have issue in Manchester United. You keep playing players who are not even worthy to be played as a Manchester United player. So for me, I think Ruben Amorim has done the right thing. If Marcus Rashford goes to Aston Villa, improves, maybe possibly he can go to another club, because with Ruben Amorim at the helm of affair, he will not get a first team play.
With Ruben Amorim at the helm of affair at Manchester United, Otoluga thinks it's going to be a very difficult one for Marcus Rashford to see a first team football out there. So he thinks that it was a great move, for him to swap the Old Trafford for Aston Villa. All right, away from that, there are some English Premier League matches that took place last night. Of course, you are aware that Chelsea locked horns against West Ham United. Chelsea, came from behind to defeat the returning Graham Potter. West Ham 2-1, ensuring no former Blues manager has ever won a Premier League game at the Stamford Bridge on their return. There was certainly flashes of intent, with Noni Madueke heavily involved, or calling narrowly wide of the far post 15 minutes in, then teeing up Enzo Fernandez for a shot that was dragged into a similar area shortly after the half-hour mark. With all the pressures from Chelsea, it was the Hammers that took the lead in the first half, but couldn't hold on till the end, as Chelsea came from behind to snatch all 3 points at the Bridge. Now, this win, Otolugas, has taken Chelsea to the top 4 spot once again. But the big question is, do you think that they have what it takes to sustain this top 4 until the end of the season?
For me, Chelsea has been up and down. They have not been consistent in their performance. If you watch the match against West Ham yesterday, it was just a narrow escape. Though West Ham weren't serious, they took the lead and they felt maybe relaxing will give them an edge, and possibly having the defensive lineup, possibly lining up the defense side of it. But you can't defend against teams that have the players in form of Madueke. Madueke was almost everywhere in that game. I watched the game. It was just unfortunate that Enzo Fernandez couldn't finish up a very good move he had with Madueke. And there were flashes of good intent from this young man, Kopama. I think West Ham would have done more, and they would have come up possibly with a draw in that match. I watched the game, and it was even late that Chelsea got the winning, and I was like, West Ham are not serious. They are not just serious. But kudos to Chelsea. We have done them favor by defeating Manchester City, and we've also taken away goals from Manchester City. So they should do their best, and we have given them the edge. They should continue with it.
Of course, they should continue with it, but I doubt if Chelsea can hold on to this, because in their last 7 games, even before the match last night against West Ham, they just managed just 1 win in their last 7 games. So this time around, 8 games, 2 wins. Let's hope that they can be able to build from their positive result last night against the Hammers, to ensure that they finish within the top 4 brackets at the end of the season in that very one. Of course, that last night was the deadline transfer date for all European clubs seeking to add more firepower to their squad out there. And a lot of clubs did a whole lot of business over the last 12 hours, trying to get 1 or 2 players to add to their rank to beef up their squad. And of course, there are some clubs in the English Premier League as well. Aston Villa signed Paris Saint-Germain midfielder Marco Asensio and agreed a deal for Chelsea defender Axel Disasi. Both players joined the club on loan until the end of the season. A draw followed the arrival of Marcus Rashford, Daniel Malen, and Andres Garcia at the Villa's Park during the winter transfer window. Villa sold the Colombian striker Jun Duran to Saudi Pro League club El Nassr within the region of £71 million, and centre-back Diego Carlos to Fenerbahce for the sum of £8.45 million in that very one. A lot of transfer businesses went down. Aston Villa were very busy. Brighton as well, very busy. But then, before we leave, Aston Villa, they've signed Marcus Asensio, Marcus Rashford, Axel Disasi, and 2 other players. Do you think they are doing a good business?
Unai Emery is a good coach. He understands what it takes to have a crop of players that is good. You know, if you have a good bench, there's always a competition. You know, one person will not come into the team and feel, I am the king, I remain here. You see, it will give you that sense of belonging, knowing that immediately you mess up, there's a player who is